And here we go for the 6th time. Boy, we've come quite a long way with the board, but we're not quite done yet. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. First of all, before I begin, I will not be predicting any of the potential DLC on the top row. You all are more than welcome to, but I'm not going to tackle that until the main roster is finished. Process of elimination, okay? You are more than welcome to guess it, but I'm going to leave that alone for now. What I will guess from the top row is that one single lonely picture far on the right. I have been obsessed with that frame ever since the Gamescom trailer, but then after a little bit of thinking, I feel the answer is actually very simple. This is going to be a solo entry, and it's going to be either a mid or the final boss of this game. Additionally, I feel like this is somebody that we haven't been officially informed of yet, whether it's the weekly gameplay trailers or even some of the cinematics we see in some of the bigger trailers. So with that being said, I don't think this is Dolores, and we will get to her later. Trust me. This could be somebody new. It could be somebody like Rugal, who, looking back when I had him on a team with Vice and Mature, I can't exactly see him being on a team with anybody. Rugal has always pretty much stood by himself in terms of like the roster. Yeah, those were his receptionists, but still. Whether it's a new character, whether it's somebody that we've seen before, this person is someone that we have not been made aware of yet. That's my prediction. Now, the fun part. This was the toughest part, honestly, specifically with 3 of these entries. So I'm gonna hit what I feel was the most easiest one first, and let's talk about K-Dash's partners. With the info we have officially from SNK and stuff that they might have let slip on accident, I feel like Kula and Angel are a lock for Team K-Dash, and here is why. Kula shouldn't really need too much explaining. I'm pretty sure you all know why I'm saying this. When it comes to her and K-Dash, they're inseparable. The only time that they've really been separated as of recent KOF games was KOF 12, and you know why with that. The dynamic they have is too good to pass up. Kula has to be definitely a lock for this, and Kula's a little too popular to really omit at this point. The stranger part of this team would be Angel's inclusion, but interestingly, much like Kula, Angel had been leaked on the Chinese and Korean versions of the KOF 15 website. Kula had been mentioned by Yashiro, and Angel was mentioned by her former partner, Ramon. I've seen people arguing against this team comp, saying that it makes no sense. I can actually see it from both perspectives. Like for instance, when people criticize this team, the main thing you'll hear is, Kula and Angel hate each other. There's no way they would coexist. On one hand, odd couple teams with internal conflicts between teammates is not a far-fetched concept. Look at the Sacred Treasures. Kyo and Iori hate each other, and yet they are teamed up this time around. And judging by the Sacred Treasures KOF 15 story and Kyo and Iori's interviews, there is no love lost or found between them. Now, you could argue, well, this is a push come to shove type of deal. Okay, why wouldn't that work for Kula and Angel being with K-Dash? We've seen this before. If there's anything that will force unlikely people to be allies, it's push come to shove type of scenarios. Now on the other hand, Kyo and Iori have a mediator in Chizuru. Between K-Dash, Kula, and Angel, who is the mediator amongst these 3? And this team with the history with them, you are going to need the ultimate peacemaker for this. I don't think any one of these 3 even remotely qualify for that title. So for a while, this had me at an impasse in picking who to team K-Dash with, up until the Shattering recently, where Onyx Blade, shoutouts to Onyx, threw out something that I did not even think about. Because while I'm over here trying to think about who between K-Dash, Kula, and Angel would be the glue to hold this team together, knowing the splintering that might happen within, Onyx brought up Hydern. We haven't seen any trailers, but we know Hydern is in this game. And those of you who keep up with the lore know that Team K-Dash and the Ikaris get along. And Hydern is more than cut out enough to give all 3 of them a stern talking to, being like, hey, we are in the midst of an emergency here. Put all your mess behind you and come together so we can fight this thing. I don't care what happened in your past, you're working together right now because there's nobody else. Though that does make me wonder, if that's the case, what exactly happened to Maxima? I know I pick on him all the time, but I'm curious. What would take him out of the mix, because I do not think he's gonna be in this game. If I hadn't have known about the leaks that happened on the KOF 15 website, I might have still entertained the idea of Maxima making a comeback, but no. So my prediction for Team K-Dash, Kula, Angel. Now I could see Hydern being on this team instead of Angel, maybe even put Big Sister Whip on there instead of Angel. Those work. People like those two characters as well, but I do think Angel is more popular. For one reason or another, I think she's more popular than those two. So K-Dash, Kula, Angel, Team K-Dash. That is my prediction. For this next prediction, I'm going to approach it a bit differently than usual, because if there's any person that made this batch of predictions all the more difficult, it was Kukri. Let's just break everything down about Kukri. So on the Shattering, it was brought to my attention by someone in the chat, I forgot who, something about a theory which led me to a YouTube channel by the name of Alrededor de KOF. The video in question speculates a link between Kukri, Dolores, and Xanadu due to similarities with their attire. Also, this video pointed out something to me that has long confused me and made no sense to me at all, and I was hoping when watching the video someone might have cracked the code, but it didn't appear so. But you know, I've looked at win quotes from certain characters to find clues about predictions and stuff, and Kukri's win quote towards Xanadu, yeah. I couldn't figure out what it meant. I put it through nearly every translator, not just Google, and I couldn't come up with anything. So if by chance I overlooked something, let me know in the comments. I got nothing. Ironically, I did garner 2 ideas from this slogan, whatever it means. Either one, it's Kukri making fun of Xanadu's propensity to spit out total nonsense, or possibly a secret code. I have a much more stronger feeling that it's the former, not the latter. It's also worth noting that both of them are actually kind of mysterious when you look at their backstories. I mean, we don't know where Xanadu is from, we really don't know what this fighting style he has is called, and all the information about Kukri is word of mouth, like it's somebody else telling you what he likes, it's somebody else telling you where he's from. It's a visual guesstimate at how tall he is, so there's some mystery there. Something that actually is a lot clearer and more well known is the fact that he does know Elizabeth. The connection might not be anything complicated. She could have literally just asked him to locate Ash for her, though I think it's a little too convenient to just be that. It might be, but I don't know. And just to throw this out here, could he possibly team up with his old teammates again from 14? I don't have a lot of stock in that, but I'm just throwing it out there to cover all fronts. So, where do I put Kukri on my prediction board? You're probably not going to believe this, but I have him partnered with Isla and Dolores, and here is why. For starters, Isla's team is clearly the rival team in this game. While I was researching and investigating for this video, I stumbled into a bit of a rabbit hole when looking over the history of the rival team in KOF. As I'm sure you know, the rival team usually debuts in the second game of a KOF arc. However, the SNK wiki claims this longtime combo was broken at the start of the Shunei saga with the Invitation team because, as you know, Kukri really hates Shunei for some reason. With that being said, Kukri is also identified as a temporary rival, and Isla is considered his official rival. So I guess as long as you specify that it's the main rival that pops up in every second game in every KOF arc, the combo isn't necessarily broken, I guess. Something else I also noticed when it comes to the debuting main rival is that they're usually teamed or linked with characters also making their KOF debuts. Iori was that in 95, and while AG and Billy were well established before KOF was even a thing, this was their very first playable KOF appearance. Kula and her 2 strikers Candy and Foxy were making their debuts in KOF 2000, and though he is basically a temporary rival of Shunei and debuted in the first KOF game of the new arc rather than the second, Kukri and his teammates Mion and Sylvie also meet this criteria. There is one exception though, and I'm pretty sure you know who it is: Elizabeth. who debuted alongside Duolan and Benimaru in her debut, but this surely was not the very first game for those two. The reason I went over this was to see if there was any type of pattern centered around the rival teams, using that to determine whether or not Isla would follow suit. If you look at my prediction for Isla's team, it doesn't follow suit with most of the other rival teams. There is more reasoning behind my choices than just a little slightly inconsistent pattern. I picked Dolores for this team due to the scene that we saw in the Gamescom trailer, which seems to hint at her and Isla knowing one another, possibly in the form of a partnership. Of course, I went over the possible connections between Dolores and Kukuri, but let's additionally pretend that the information about him being from North Africa is true. Dolores' look could be hinting at her being African, or the other idea I had was that maybe she is another one from parts unknown, which would also fit with the mystique of Kukuri, if you ask me. With Kukuri on this team, you're probably wondering, what do he and Isla have in common? Well, seeing that he was the temporary rival, what would stop him from wanting to team with somebody who also doesn't like Shune? That's how I see it. So Isla's partners, I predict, are Dolores and Kukuri. With that out of the way, now it's over to Ash Crimson's team. Another team that I felt Kukuri could have been on, but since I've pretty much taken care of him, that does kind of open the avenue to some other ideas. Now I'm gonna be straight up with you all, I'm half unsure about one person on this team. We'll get to it momentarily. For starters, I feel like one of Ash Crimson's partners has to be Elizabeth. With Ash being restored after his erasure as a result of Versus' demise, it's safe to say that memories of him are also restored as well. I even want to point out that Nakata hinted at this in his special comments sketch with Ash Crimson, where he asks, how will Iori or Chizuru react to his return? I'm pretty sure the implication from that statement is clear. That does beg the question though, of Ash Crimson's small cluster of friends and affiliates, who else would partner with him? Shenwu? Very popular pick amongst the fans. He teamed with Ash in his debut. Why not? Duolan? Somebody else that teamed with Ash in his debut. I don't think he's as popular as Shin, but there's that. And another fairly but probably a weird pick, what about Oswald? Now he was DLC in the previous game, and we've seen a nice chunk of DLC characters from the previous game make the roster in this game. Maybe he's gonna do it too. I think one factor to look at is the whole thing with his disease. Like, was it retconned? Or was he cured in 14 from the disease? And also, even though we haven't seen this character revealed yet, I do think he'll pop up somewhere, and that's Xanadu. And no, I'm not implying that Xanadu is on this team. Those of you who keep up with like the lore and look at stuff like win quotes and special intros, you would all know that Oswald, for some reason, does not like Xanadu. I have a funny feeling we might see Xanadu in here as like maybe a background character, he might make a cameo or something. But what if he's on the main roster? What if he is a key character in the 15 storyline? That would be more than enough of an invitation for Oswald to come in and we can learn more about this rivalry. I'm leaning more towards Oswald or Shin being the third person on this team. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I might go with the popular opinion because I'm legit split. I love Duolan, but I don't think it's him. And finally, another thing that's been bothering me about this select screen, the mystery trio at the bottom of the screen. So, looking at this, I really don't have predictions. I just have questions. I'm so sorry, but like, I'm legit drawing a blank. I've been losing sleep trying to put this together. But let me just ask my questions. Now, thanks to process of elimination from what I've done so far, this could very well be Hydern's team. Maybe a Masters team, maybe Hydern is the bridge for a Metal Slug team to come in by some crazy chance. I don't know. I just think it's very odd that he wasn't shown on the roster despite his presence being known. At the same time, it is worth noting that we've only seen him on the promotional art. There's been no official in-game footage of him released anywhere, unless there were leaks and I happen to overlook them. I don't go out of my way looking for leaks. There's too many fake ones out there. Then also, what about the Kim team? Kim and Gongil are mentioned in Luong's profile on the KOF 15 website about how both of them do not approve of Miss Luong being a secret agent. It's also worth noting that Kim has had KOF main roster perfect attendance. Will this game be his combo breaker? That's going to be heartbreaking for a lot of fans if it is. The final question I have, where is Nakoruru? She was positioned as a key character in this arc story in 14. We haven't seen head nor tail of her yet. Is she gonna get the Happy Chaos treatment and be relegated to DLC like in Strive? Because Happy Chaos was a big part of the Strive storyline. He's not on the main roster. We are still waiting for him to be confirmed as a DLC character. And this is just me thinking kind of wild, but did SNK draw a blank on who to team her with because of the love heart issues? Were they really invested in this trio so much that this copyright issue stomped out those plans? I kind of doubt that because there's so many characters in the universe that could have replaced Loveheart. So I'm drawing a blank on this, even though I will say that I do think this is a high-earned team. But that's the long and short of it. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Y'all really help me out with these a whole bunch because you all tend to catch things that I overlook, and I appreciate that. And I just love talking about this stuff with y'all, but we shall see. Till next time, this is Chrysalid signing off. You all take care of yourselves. Be safe out there. See ya.